A warning to our more sensitive viewers.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I have to just say, what a week! What a week! World War 11. I missed, all the other World Wars. 3, all the way up until 10. We're all the way up on to 11 now. Yeah. Oh man, men are getting so jealous against women. There's a huge tax on OnlyFans. Because OnlyFans is mostly used by women anyway. But like, when you think about it, it was like specifically done to mitigate their power, to like limit their capability, like mostly I think to travel abroad, right? Like to I theorize this that they did it so that women would have a harder time finding success abroad, and they would have to spend more of their money locally, hence like get more taxes, more go back to the government, etc., etc., right? Whereas, before they're wilding out. Sorry, I'm just burping constantly. Excuse me. Wilding out, going on vacay, doing the Instagram shuffle, all the living that good life. Now it's come to an end. Well, for a lot of these girls, because it is the way it is, right? The jealousy of men, all over the world. You're seeing like guys just losing it on girls, like the aforementioned, guy in New York who just pile drivered that girl. I think I got the story mixed up. I was just like, recanting it, and I got like the things and whatever. But that's how you know I'm not AI. I mix up events. I get things wrong. I make mistakes. I'm human. At least I can try to admit it. I don't know, like, if people would like who are listening would understand that distinction, but whatever. Um, so more onto the topic I actually want to talk about, and I did a previous recording, but I missed out on it because this is gonna sound strange, right? But what if there was a video that was so profound and so, I would say, needlessly but intentionally offensive, that I wouldn't put it by me that not only did Paul Joseph Watson delete that video because of ridicule, but it's also like most likely going to be a video that is going to be hidden from people, as it is most likely going to incite them. And now that I think back to the whole influx of illegal migrants, like to put a settlement like in this village in, I don't know, somewhere in Scandinavia, I believe in the Netherlands. Could be wrong. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I am just like swamped with like, facts and files and things that I have to do. But like, we gotta talk about this because this video was like purposefully deleted. I went out of my way to like, look it up in my history. And then I went on Paul Joseph Watson's like site. Not there either. I just had my head scratching. I'm like, why would they delete something like that? It just seems so playful at first, but then like you think about like the deeper meaning behind it as the reason why. Shit, you're not gonna believe this, ladies and gentlemen. So apparently they're talking about to preface this video, because the beginning of this video is just like two men and one girl in a bed, and like they have like, I don't know, some kind of like relationship like that. Well, I don't really have anything against that. Whatever, right? But the what is being implied is more important, right? So they're saying like, oh yeah, the ancient people of Greenland, they died off because they were inbreeding too much, and we can't make that same mistake. For sure, man. Yeah, they said it like that. They said it like that. Right, and then like this is why they're like showing off this, like, two men, one woman, like, one of them got like curly hair, like Middle Eastern looking and shit. It's like, yeah, man, trying to like sneak it in, but like when you really think about it, it's like, wait a minute, so like they're cool with that shit? Like, think about it, these guys out there who are like, Allah Akbar and all that shit. I thought they were like, ride or die for their like religion and shit. I didn't know they were like, some beta cuck, draft of men. The call of the cucks. It's like they needed these cucks, these betas, these sloppy second, sidekicks to come through to help impregnate the women of Scandinavia to prevent, according to the government, that is, the inbreeding of the local population. Yup, yup, yup. Now, if you're watching this video, you're watching me play these video games, you're probably thinking just like, yo, you talking mad amounts of shit. Mad amounts of shit. Show me the proof. And see, I would. Like I said, I would. But then when I went back to go search for it, it's gone, man. Ghost. It's like it never happened. It's like I'm lying to you. I'm inciting violence. I mean, I'm trying to like, force the white people to like get angry. To like, defend your homeland and shit for some like, personal gain of mine. Oh no, you know what I'll do? I'll be like, wearing like a tuxedo with like a bow tie and shit. I'll have like these symbols, like those like things like the monkeys do, and like smack them together. Like, hey guys, you have not. I'm making you guys like entertaining you guys and shit. Be like your entertainment, some shit like that. And I'll like point the finger at my fellow kind. I'll be like, I'm not one of you anymore. Get him. But it's true though. It is true, ladies and gentlemen. The government, or should I say the EU government, or globalist, whatever, interest groups, the corporate, pedophiles and shit. If most of these motherfuckers in the Epstein files, or if they're not, they got their names scrubbed off the Epstein files. You do guys remember that like a lot of these names and shit, they're still censored. Like a lot of these things are still censored. And for all we're being told, it's like, oh no, we have to protect the kids and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm all for that, but like, what happens if you just say that and you're just like leaving shit out, not to like expose certain people? Here we are, the age of paranoia. You can't be trusting nobody. Nah, man. Government be lying to you. There's this commercial talking about like inbreeding and shit. Like it's so ass backwards because technically they're right. Yeah, they're right. But the Middle Eastern people are inbred. Yeah, they practice that a lot, and so you're not gonna get a better result by having a kid by one of them just because you guys have different genes, because they still have those inbred, subhuman genes inside of them. And it's not gonna like go away because it's like, oh, just one generation in or that, because those recessive genes, like, yeah, there's a higher, health mitigation by not inbreeding. Like, but once you start inbreeding, you have those recessive genes, those unfortunate qualities, genetic qualities, genetic, yeah. So they got it all ass backwards. They're not right about getting these people from the Middle East, these immigrants, these so-called, saviors of Europe to like breed with the women. It's more like guys like me, right? Where like you can argue, well, your background's Indian and shit. Well, hear me out, right? My parents, they're not from the same caste, which is pretty fucking rare, right? Number one. Number two, like we're not even Indian. So like West Indian, like think about all that garbage left behind. Think about all that like, pathetic nature of like arranged marriages and shit. And I'm not saying like my parents or whatever, my family didn't experience any form of nepotism and stuff. Like I think it's more along the lines of traditional rather than like a business venture. like more or less like people made for themselves, but like they helped out their family. Like I'm probably gonna have to do that. Like I'm thinking about doing that a lot actually, because culturally, I guess that was my benefit. So um, like twice removed, and then on top of that, right? We're talking about, but like you didn't want the inbreds. You didn't want like a child that would have to suffer from serious debilitation. And it's my kids. It's me through me that like humanity is pretty much saved. And it sounds like, pure shit talking, but when you really think about it, yeah, it checks out. The logic checks out. I mean, and that's probably why, the government and, people hate me so much because I didn't lose my hair. I didn't really age all that much. Like at one point, I actually thought I was gonna get wrinkles, but no, it was just like because I had this like sticker on my well, not sticker, this like see-through shit on my forehead because I got a tattoo, and then it like left like a dent, and I thought like I got a frown on my forehead, like I was getting older, and then like no, it just like went away, and that's important because people will like think that I'm like bragging about my age, and like to be fair, to an extent I am, but then I have to think about long term, like what about the benefits to my children? And the more and more I think about it, I realize that, by preemptively thinking about, what they're going to do for a living and where they're going to live, possibly, a little bit more than just like having, and like, no hate to, my parents and their generation. Like, they just have a little bit more optimism in the markets and like, the education system and overall like the quality of people that they're gonna meet. Like we also have to think about if we're encountering like a lot of issues like mental health issues, people on TikTok, people absorbed by social media where they're glued to and I'm a little bit guilty of this myself. I try to like tone it down. So I'm like getting older, but like sometimes I'll like go out and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take some pictures and then post about it on Instagram. And like, I see it's kind of vain sometimes, but I think of it more of if I can just use that as like a checkpoint and say, okay, I'm just gonna get like, lose a lot of weight or just get really fit and then like look back at like how I look now and then, use that, I guess, as like you know, where I am now type shit. Because we also have to like, think about what it's gonna be like for your kids to have friends, you know, where you'd hope for them to have good friends. And like in my personal desire, I would want my kids to have friends that they would be like, okay, let's go play video games and shit. And they're like very, very, you know, fun and but dorky and like, lighthearted and like, it's not nothing too serious but nothing too crazy and stuff. And like just living that like dream life. And like once they're old enough, they can like, maybe go take martial arts or go take swimming classes and like, get a gym membership. I'll get them a home gym. Like thinking about all these things for my kids beforehand is probably like my biggest safety net in life because I just can't have like the thought of just like tossing them to the wolves like it's nothing. It's just so mean. Because it's like, can you imagine how desperate people are going to be in the future where you're going to have a generational gap of guys, right? And like the title of this video says, it's the beta male draft. It's like a bunch of guys who are basically meant to be side guys, meant to be like, you know, an accessory to another man's like life, and in return they like get sexual benefits, I guess. Maybe like breeding benefits because it's like the guy's like infertile or something. And like that's what this commercial was going by. And like that's why, like, even though you could argue to that extent it does serve a purpose for, like, those couples who have that problem, it's like when you think about it in the culturalist aspect, it's like very offensive. So I can see why, like, the video was deleted. Paul Joseph Watson took his video down, like, yo, take this down, they're gonna incite a riot. You see these cops, like, just straight up smacking these guys in the head and shit. Like, shit's gotten real. And, like, yo, they're right. If guys are weak enough to allow this to happen, then another guy should come in and step in and take the fucking plate. But, like, I can't do it fucking all, you know what I mean? But I'm willing to an extent. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be open in that regard, which I am now, because I do it not necessarily to incite violence, but to like inspire, because it's like when you think about it, if like a virgin like me is willing to like step up to the plate and say, look, fuck it, their genes suck, take mine instead. Like it should, give other men confidence, I would believe. I would hope to believe, right? Because it's not looking good for guys out there, right? Looks like all the red pill is fucking crashing the fuck out. So on top of like, clavicular having this like whatever, there's this next guy. He's like the Australian red pill dude. His name is like uh, androgenic. And I feel bad for this guy so much because it's that like, spiral of denial. Because I hope the guy like, figures this shit out, right? Like I feel for him. He's a young guy. He messes around with gear. It fucks with them. He changes them irreversibly, and like, he's stuck, dealing with the ramifications of that. And then these fucking punk ass kids run up on him and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna fucking, punk him." But then I thought about it. Are those kids punks? Or are they genetically superior? And then, androgenic, he's the subhuman because, he needs all these like substances and all these things to like, be a man. Whereas these kids are willing to risk it all, probably get their fucking teeth knocked out, and then they're just like, fuck this guy, like, and they, by doing so, as fucked up as it sounds, but like you gotta respect them for it. By doing so, they get, first pick on women and shit because it's just like it's their right. And by me seeing that, I know it sounds like so fucking childish to make this observation, but yo, just hear me out, hear me out. I'm saying that like, yo, the younger generation isn't gonna fucking take this shit sitting down. I used to think that they were soft, dude, but like, yo, I've been playing some like Arc Raiders, man. I say, yo, what's up to them? They just like fucking, yo, it's like sounds like some fucking boomer and shit. Fucking light his ass out, yo. I fucking ain't playing with you, man. My future's fucked over because of you. They don't even say nothing on the mic, man. And you can feel the child animal. I mean, sorry, the youth animosity, the younger generation animosity, generation of Z. The Z generation. They're gonna get a Zenkai boost, going against all these fucking fraud skis, like, yo, fucked up their future and shit. Nah, man. Oh yeah, they're trying to like, stop Nick Shirley, and then Nick Shirley just like dropped the video anyway, which is hilarious. The Stop Nick Shirley act. That's fucking funny, dude. They're gonna like make an act just for him. Alright, take care, everybody.